good, y'all? Welcome to my review for this week's episode of Vigilantes, man. Holy fucking shit! What a goddamn episode this was, ladies and gentlemen. Cinema! Pure cinema with this episode, man. Easily, and I think we can all agree on this. Easily the best episode of Vigilantes so far. Like, this might get talking like future seasons and whatnot, man. But for core one, because apparently season one of Vigilantes is gonna be like multi-core. It's gonna be like split core. Apparently, I've seen some tweets about that. I'm not sure how true it is, but that's what I've been seeing a lot of. That people are saying that Vigilante season one's gonna be split core. But anyway, it might get changed later on, but this is easily the best episode of core one so far. And I doubt the follow-up episode will change that because, goddamn, this was such an incredible episode, man. We learned more finally about Hachisuka, the whole bee thing. We do not, unfortunately, get to see what's behind the hair, though. We more or less can deduce by what we see, how we found out how the bee works. We can deduce what the hell is behind her eye, and it looks like it's literally just a hole. There's a hole for the bees that the bees like burrowed into, to get access to Tamo's brain. So yeah, now and like the animation this episode, man, was something else, man. Like goddamn, this was like some Naruto Part 1 type shit, with the hand-to-hand combat, man, impact frames and whatnot, man. This shit was fucking incredible, man. So now, fortunately, so far, at least last time I checked, I might as well go check right now. Only one cut has been posted on my Sakuga Academia yet, so thankfully it's like the big cut, though. Probably my favorite cut of the episode, thankfully. So hey, at least we know we have some credits for that one as well. But yeah, so far only one cut's been posted so far. Obviously, I'll keep checking as I'm working through the episode. I'll keep checking to see if they post any more cuts, and then I'll mention them as we proceed throughout the rest of the review. But yeah, man. Holy shit, man, like, the cuts for Hachisuka versus Knuckleduster, man, or something else, man, like, goddamn. Seriously, man. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Let's just jump right into the actual episode. So we start the episode off, basically we're left with the power shutting off in Naruhata. We get an announcement from someone over the PAs about the generators being down. They'll see what they can do, get the fair story. Everyone just hang tight. So everyone's got to wonder what's going on. Midnight calls up Aizawa and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I was fighting a villain. And it's obviously, like he said, Beth's trying to get out of this as any way he possibly can. He says he's got a cover, don't send back up. He'll wait till the villain wagon gets here, which I'm assuming he means the cops. So he's just gonna sit here and chill. He mentions about the power of I guess I'll have to cancel the show. And I'm like, bro would love that, man. They cancel the show because as we saw last episode, Aizawa wanted nothing to do with this whole thing. Anyway, afterwards, which once again they kept the title card idle, once again, but the episode was titled Goodbye to Dad, which I don't know. Given how this episode ends, man, we'll talk more about that as we get to that part of the episode. I don't know. There might have been some foreshadowing. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see next week. Anyway, so Makoto is calling up with Midnight once again with the thing and says about how the generators are blown out. That's going to take them a while for them to, get the thing fixed, and they might have to cancel the show. So then, C comes to be like, he's like, Makoto, I told you I would get here straight away once I found there was trouble. And she's like, awesome, dude. You boss, I got something. He's like, well, guess that's my life now. Literally, I love show. This might actually be my favorite role of this, honestly, unironically. Like, I might like him more in this role compared to Goku. Obviously, Goku, a lot of these was an iconic role, but I think this is my favorite of his, man. I just love the voice he uses for C. Anyway, so then Makoto tells him what's going on, that CC's gonna go grab some emergency generator to get the power up going on, and she once again asks President Mike and Midnight for the help. They say they can't do anything. They're stuck on standby, having to value the crowd's safety first over the show. And I'm like, sure, that makes sense, but also like, can't you do both? Like, I feel like you could do both. But whatever the case may be, obviously, we also have the chick with the glasses. I don't think we ever actually got her name. I don't think we ever did get her name. The chick with the glasses that's smitten with the, Mad Hatter dude, being like, oh, we're going to cancel the show. And then Koichi comes out of nowhere being like, I'm the guy that brought a special surprise, a crawler, and then fucks up the landing. Now, I think he's CG here when he jumps over the fence. Well, after Pop is looking for him, I cannot tell for certain if he's CG or this was hand-drawn. It's really hard to tell. I want to say he's CG here, but he also looks like he's hand-drawn too. I really couldn't tell. Which also, if you guys did not know, recently an article was posted showing off Bones' the top of the CGI and Vigilantes, which also gave us some like their behind the scenes BTS videos on like the CG models and whatnot, how they were like the process of creating the models and everything, man. It's a really great read, man. Definitely go check it out. It's on my Soccer Academy Twitter. Actually, if I remember, I'll put it in the description of this video so you guys can go read if you guys want to, because it's a really cool read. You get to see interesting BTS footage of the CG models. Anyway, so later he fucks up the landing, gets back up, and then he brought Pop Step's Mike, goated boyfriend, even though they're not dating yet. Yeah. Hopefully one day. Hopefully one day. Anyway. So, gives Pop Step back her mic, says that she's great at this sort of thing, that she uses it for her concerts as well as whenever there's a villain to go out there, she uses it to help control the crowd. She's great at this sort of stuff. So Makoto sends her out to the front of the crowd to keep them busy while they wait for Cece to come back and actually begin the show. And everyone starts getting thumbs up. The Queen is like, hey, the stupid thing. She calls him a dork. I'm like, yeah, he's a dork, but we love him. So anyway, Pop Step starts to go on stage, and we get some incredible, and I do mean incredible, perspective shots for obvious reasons. but also, these are some great. I love the perspective of these shots with the fisheye legend. I think the background is CG for when Hachisuka is running away from Knuckleduster here, man. But I might be wrong. Or maybe bits of it might be CG. Either way. I love the perspective here when she's running away. We also get like a nice fisheye lens like right on Hachisuka's face, man. Once again, looks great. Seriously, so like I said, only one cut's been posted so far, man. I have been periodically checking to see if anything more, but so far still nothing. Hopefully they post some more cuts soon, because I need to know the animators on this episode and who worked on what. I need to know this episode was so damn good. Anyway, so here's what I say. She's running away from Knuckleduster. Knuckleduster's chasing after her, and then while he's chasing after her, he gets a call, and Lily answers him while he's like swinging across the city, chasing down Hachisuka. It's from the hospital, saying that there was a change in his wife's condition. He's like, oh yeah, you caught me while I was in the middle of the move, while I was on the move, and so he's like doing. I'm like, bro, this is like the most Spider-Man shit ever, man. Just doing all this while doing like chasing down a villain while you're answering a phone call. It's pretty funny, but it was pretty high. But anyway, she comes over near this alleyway in front of some trash cans. Knuckleduster meets her up there, stops, gets right in front of her. She turns into some alleyways, and he says, like, great, her family will be there soon. Hangs up, and then once again goes after back over to Hachisuka into the alleyway. Well, Pop Step starts to enter the stage, and Loki kind of whiffs it, but she also kind of says at the same time. She talks about how nervous she is, how she usually works at, like, only does, like, at, like, the train station or like, in the park area. So if you're a local, you've probably seen her to Naruhata. And then she talks about how nervous she is, how it feels like her heart's in her throat, and that she really needs to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, Pop, you're whipping. And he's like, no, I mean more emotionally. I went before I got up from all the jumping. Like, Pop, you're whiffing, and you got the two bitches, I forget their fucking names, talking about like, oh, this is some weird banter, and Koichi's like behind me, like, yeah, she's of the idols don't have bodily functions type. So, anyway, she mentions about her crew, which, obviously Joe Tureen and Knockoff Wolverine are there as well, to get their light sticks up there, man, show some love to the crowd, and this is honestly a genius by Pop Step, I gotta say, man. She's great when it comes to crowd control. Where after she says, if you guys go to the bathroom or need to talk to her like a staff member, go over there and someone will help you out. So, good thing on Pop Step for that, for having basically making these guys her beacons. And then we also see Joe Tureen, the others with their glow stick. We see Knockoff Cycles is literally just pointing at the sky, just firing his beam like continuously, and for some reason it's pink. Like, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be red. How'd man turn the color to pink? Can he change it any other colors as well? Can he do blue? Can he do yellow? Black? White? Why the hell is it pink? Anyway, so she says, like, if you guys go to the bathroom, you got plenty of time before the show, so everyone knows. And then she starts doing a song. Once again, I have to ask, how is Pop a bad singer? But like, is this just the bitches just being jealous bitches? You'll be like, oh, she's such a terrible singer, even though she's like a great singer. Or like, is this just her jealousy, or is she like genuinely a bad singer? Because from my ears, Pop sounds great, man. Now, if, like I said, if Macy got to dub the songs, and then they said I could understand a little bit more, because obviously there's definitely her Seiyu is definitely a much better singer than Macy is. I don't even know if Macy even has a singing background or anything in like theater or whatnot, but she is definitely a better singer than Macy. If it was that case, then I'm like, okay, fair enough, you actually have somewhere. But when it's just her Seiyu singing, I'm like, the fuck are y'all on about? She sounds great. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, great song. I want to say Rei Hosaka, she worked on this episode. I want to say she either worked, and given, because you guys know she's worked on previous episodes, well, she was also the animator, fun fact, you guys didn't know. They did that amazing cut from season 5 between Izuku and Uraraka. He's like, oh my god, you're hurt, or, you know, and all that iconic moment from season 5. She was the animator behind that, so if you guys like that scene, give her a follow. Anyway, she did tweet about it. She posted an illustration because, you know, obviously when she's an animator and like whenever she posts works on an episode, she usually posts an illustration with it. She's done that a handful of times for Vigilantes. I don't know exactly where her cut of the episodes, but given that her illustration is a Pop in the outfit, and she said like, oh, I gotta do a little help in her tweet, like I gotta do a little help. Pop and her friends like her work was so good. I'm assuming she either worked on Pop's actual performance here just by herself, or more than likely she did the whole ensemble thing at some point, worked on that part of the episode, or where her cut is. I'm assuming it's one of those two places. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm assuming it's somewhere in either one of those two parts of the episode. Like I said, I don't know for certain though. Anyway, whatever the case may be, as she continues playing her song, we then get back to Aizawa, who can obviously hear the crowd. She's like, oh, more bangs. Like, no, it's just people enjoying the crowd. And then of course our little eel friend is like, Pop. He doesn't say it, but obviously he's looking at the performance and like that starts to wake him a little bit or get him to move. Anyway, we actually see one of Hachisuka's bees start to suck out the trigger from him to obviously to juice herself up with that. Aizawa manages to shoo the bee away, and that's when we cut back over to Hachisuka and Knuckleduster. First of all, I gotta say, I fucking love this shot of Knuckleduster. Anyway, I love this drawing of Knuckleduster, man, where he's this guy like where he's like caked in, where he's like almost covered in shadows as he looks at Hachisuka, who's now in a dead end, man. The drawings here look so good, man. The drawing here looks so damn good, man. But anyway, and also, like I said, the drawings on Hachisuka here as well were fantastic as well. Like this episode, like I would definitely think it's safe to say this was definitely the priority episode of Core 1. Anyway, the drawings on her right before she injects herself with trigger also look fantastic as well. Anyway, so she starts to inject herself with trigger. Then we finally get to learn how the bee. I don't know if the bee has an actual name, but Knuckleduster just calls her the bee. How the bee works. Basically, the bee is a parasite, and it seems like from the diagram he shows that they burrow in through the eye to connect to the brain, and obviously take over the brain and create a makeshift personality to now take over that body. And the more she injects with trigger, that means obviously because we know it makes you lose like some of your mental capacities and whatnot, man, makes you go crazy. She starts to lose that, and the original host's will takes over again, and he mentioned his daughter's got plenty of will. But yeah, so we finally learn what's seemingly behind that eye. It's probably just like an empty hole for the bees to come in and out of, man, because it looks like the bees burrowed in through her eye to connect to her brain. That's just how I'm assuming it works, judging from the diagram. We then get our first flashback, which once again, as we saw in the little like bits of this a little bit, although I don't think we actually got any dialogue with it from the trailer that dropped like last week for anticipation for this episode, where we found that Tama was actually wanted to be a singer. She wanted to be part of a band. Knuckleduster wasn't into that, man. He's like saying that she's wasting her life, that she should stop doing this and stop wasting her life. She still has her own life ahead of her. Yada yada, not being a supportive father at all. She tells him how she's like, you have no right to criticize me this when you're never present. And Knuckleduster basically says like, this is why your mom always takes care of you, takes care of things around you. Yada yada. His wife ends up backing him up, telling his daughter to apologize to him, and then she just runs off crying. Also, like I said, I love the way this looks, also with the film grain on it, but also like the transition they used as well. Great stuff here, man. We then see Tamo, excuse me, I gotta switch names. Tamo like crying by a vending machine, where we see Hachisuka's previous host coming in there, which I'm assuming this is how she ends up possessing her body. And then she just says, "God, you pissed me off," which Knuckleduster mentions that with her taking trigger, the original host starts to take over his body again. I don't don't know like how true that is. If she does, if it is true, she clearly still hates him because literally there is no point in the episode where we see Hachisuka fighting the bee user to be like, no, don't hurt my daddy or nothing, like nothing. Literally, it's just Hachisuka being like, fuck you. Well, she doesn't say fuck you honestly, but like, go to hell, die. You know, you piss me off. Yada yada. Like literally, like I'm like almost certain that Hachisuka's still in control, but honestly, this could still be her daughter as well. Like, you know, I couldn't really tell if it's like if this was straight up his daughter talking or if this was all still Hachisuka. Whatever the case may be, he says, I know, Tomo. Let her know. We never talked to him. We never talked to him. As he once again pulls out the big ass taser. I do a lot of yelling and not much listening. I see that now. That's time to reflect. She charges right towards him, man. I love the background. I love this cut right here, man, with how the background's using when she charges right towards him, man. Great storyboard in this entire episode. I gotta say, the storyboard in this episode was fantastic, I must say. I don't know who boarded the episode, but they did a spectacular job. Another one of her bees injects her with some last minute trigger, and then she like, which by this point she already like her fingernails have kind of turned into claws, and like she now has some sort of like electric power. I'm not entirely sure how that works. Maybe it's something with bees or something. Anyway, she she stabs him like by his chest where his heart is. Like electrocutes him a bit, which obviously sends him down to the ground because obviously like stops his heart for a second, allowing her to get away. She's like, take some time to reflect in hell, because you know right before he said I see that now since I've had some time to reflect. Anyway, as I said, Knuckleduster falls down to the ground. He was surprised she has an electric quirk and that they would also use the same weapon. She's got smarts and style. That's my little girl. As he finally plops down to the ground, man, Hachisuka makes her escape for now. Though it looks like her right arm is dead, like she's just like completely like, because it's all blacked out, man, so I guess, I don't know if that means like the arm is just straight up dead, like she can't use it, or she just like burnt it. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it seems like her right arm is out of commission. We then get to see another flashback where we see that Knuckleduster is actually working with Giran. Yes, the league of villains, like little like mad guy in the chair sort of thing that was giving them information and bringing the team together, man, the mastermind behind the League of Villains. He was working with Knuckleduster. How did he get connected with this dude? I don't know. I would like to get an explanation as how this works. This was a cool cameo regardless, but I would like to know how he got ties to the criminal underworld and was able to even get in, you know, in the bar and whatnot, and like ask this dude for favors. I don't know if this dude, you know, really cares. As long as I pay him, he'll work with anybody. I'm not entirely sure what the situation for how this relationship came to be, but this was pretty cool nonetheless. Anyway, he also has this lighter gun, which I don't know if he had that in the main series or not, but I thought that was interesting. Anyway, he asked for painkillers, literally very daredevil of him. See, like, and the Giran's like, man, you already went to the ones I gave you previously. You know, if you don't be careful, those things are gonna like destroy your brain. Yada yada yada. You're not my doctor. So anyway, he asks for the pills. He asks for like this chemical concoction that's meant to take care of insects, man, because he has a pest problem. And then he asks him something about the stun gun. We don't know what he says at that current moment, which I at the very least appreciate that they did the thing where he says about the stun gun, cut away to Knuckleduster with his gun, which I was gonna say the drawings of when we see Knuckleduster down on the ground right before he gets back up, man, fantastic. I love the detailing. I love the detailing on that. The shadowing, man, looks great, man. I don't know who did the key animation for that, but they did a fantastic job. Anyway, as I was saying, they cut to that, then they cut back to the flat, man. I'd much rather they do that rather than doing that stupid thing, which you guys know I have mentioned this before. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in past reviews for shows I reviewed. Definitely mentioned this when I react to shows on my Twitter. That I hate when they do the thing where they like show a character's mouth movement, but they just mute the audio once they keep talking. I hate that shit. It annoys the shit out of me, man. I just think it's so dumb. But so I'm glad they didn't do that and they just cut away or they just cut around it, man. Which I much appreciate than that stupid shit. Also, I love the drawings here when we see when Knuckleduster passed him the notes about the chemicals on him, man. Love the perspective on it, man. Looked really great, man. Anyway, we see Knuckleduster start to twitch as like cockroaches start to come around him as we find that the power is finally back online, so now the show can truly begin. Now, this I thought was a little weird. Now, you guys remember in the previous episode, I believe it was the previous episode, maybe the episode before that, the whole thing with one of the bitches spraining her ankle, doing the training, and she couldn't move, blah, 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 blah. And this whole thing to work around her limited movement with her sprained ankle, correct? Well, the animators must have forgot about that, or they injected her with whatever painkillers Knuckleduster's taking because she had no problems moving today. Like, literally, man, she moves like she had never had a sprained ankle before, man. Like, now maybe it healed because obviously I think it's been like a few days since, and I think they said something about like that in a few days she'll be fine anyway. So that's why I'm like, You seem to be moving pretty fine for a woman with a sprained ankle. Like, you seem moving really well for yourself. Whatever the case may be, song's pretty good, man. Great animation here with Pops, especially when we see her, like, hopping above the siege and she starts to dive back down. The cut there looks amazing. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that this or the previous one was or the one where it was just Pop's performance, where Rai, I know you pronounce her first name, Hisoka's cuts. I'm assuming one of those was, like I said, her cut, but or at least was in one of those sections. But either way, man, great animation. So anyway, after the whole performances end, we get back to Hachisuka. She's finally made her way out of the alleyway, and she's like, looks like they got the show bear on. I should go and join them. And she's like, do not be a spoil sport. You'll have your time in the spotlight soon. I'll make sure of that, Tomo. And so, like, obviously, he's like finally starting to be supportive of her daughter's dream to want to be, a singer or part of a band or whatnot. So, but anyway, Hachisuka's like, why are you still alive? Why aren't you dead? You just won't give up. And she once again is ready to fight. We get another really great perspective shot storyboard with like this lower angle as Hachisuka raises her arm up with electricity going through it, so she's preparing to fight. And now we finally get to the cuts that have actually been posted on the episode. So let's get into it, man. The first one right here, the starts up was done by Masahiro Tokomaru was the animator behind this cut for this initial one. When Hachisuka's charging right towards Knuckleduster, man. Fantastic work, man. And like I mentioned, man, this cut was absolutely spectacular, man. Loved great drawings, man. Great animation here, man. Love the choreography, man. Like, which you guys know, we do not get a lot of just straight hand-to-hand combat choreography in Hirawaka, man. Like, that's just not something we typically get that out. So this cut was a real treat, man, to finally have something like this in Hero. Like I said, this was like this and like the cut right out and the cut later on the which I think this might have been right after his cut, was just phenomenal work, man. A very Naruto Part 1, esque at least for me, man. Like, such an amazing cut. But anyway, as they battle out, we once again get another flashback back to Knuckleduster, where after Hachisuka gives him this look, he's like, oh yes, that look of hatred. It's the same as that she gave him back that day, and that that left him frozen while he's barking orders like a scared dog. And it was that moment he lost his daughter because he couldn't move, he couldn't go over there and try and fix things up. That's when he lost, as he says, that's when I lost my baby girl. As like the door closes, he's like, but not this. He's like, but not this time. I will move past the line. Which I do wonder if that's maybe like a callback to that whole thing about what Stain said, like, what was it, like a hero goes past the line or something. Something. It was a similar line where Knuckles does past the line and punch him. Completely breaking his nose, man. That shit was crazy. But anyway, man, then we get to the next cut, which this one was absolutely sensational, man. This one was handled by 3 animators. Yuki, Angel, Kade were the 2 animators behind this cut, man. And Angel Kade was the one behind these batshit insane impact frames when Knuckleduster finally gets to land the taser right on Hachisuka, man. Bro went off on these impact frames, man. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Such great work, man. Love the drawings here too as well, man. They're absolutely spectacular. I also love like when we see the stun gun charge. I love the little bits of like purple hue they give some of them, man, right before he shocks her, man. Great work, man. I love this cut so much. Great drawings. So, now that Hachisuka's down on the ground, obviously her heart's been with him firing right at the chest, man. Her heart's going into convulsions that she's going to have to do something soon if she wants to keep that body. And so then she starts lighting, and then we see electricity going through her other hands. Like, yeah, that's good. If you're going to want to keep that body alive, you're going to need to shock the heart. That's what I did. That's what I did. Difference is, he stomps on the hand. I'm not gonna let you. So then the bees start to leave her body, and then Knuckles gets this big ass stick thing to extract the hive from. Like I said, at this point I think it's safe to say that like literally it's just an empty hole that the bees have just burrowed into. Pulls out the queen, which nasty little bastard, isn't it, man? Sends out this smoke grenade thing, and this. This was just so ridiculous, but so goddamn cool. Where you got the smoke bomb behind Knuckles, he faces the camera, it blows up, you get impact frames, boom, onomatopoeia, man. It's so extra, but so fucking cool. They did Knuckleduster good with this episode, man. They really did. Made him look like that. This looks like some shit out of an 80s action movie, man. I fucking loved it, man. Seriously. Cinema. Absolute cinema was this entire portion of the episode, man. So anyway, we get them cut back to when Knuckleduster met Giran to know what else he had wanted added to the Sun Gun. Where Knuckleduster mentions, or Giran says that he wants an EKG attached to it. As long as it shares the same battery, it's cool. And then Giran's like, I'm afraid to ask, but what do you need this for? And he says, sometimes you need to stop parts, sometimes you gotta reset it. So, and that's what he does. He sets up the EKG, sets it off, restarts Tomo's heart, and then starts actually giving CPR and giving chest compressions. Dr. Mike would be very happy if you saw this. If any of you guys know, for any of you guys that watch Dutch, you guys know it's kind of like this. I'm not subscribed to him, but I have watched a lot of him because his videos are fun and it is kind of informative in terms of learning some of the more medical stuff with like TV shows and whatnot. And it's also fun just to see him rage at all the inaccuracies and just be like, chest compressions, chest compressions, chest compressions. I don't know if he's done any anime videos yet, but if he ever does one for Hero Akame, I think he'll be pleasantly surprised and pleased at about his medical accuracy in that you got Knuckleduster actually doing chest compressions to save his daughter. But yeah, he does chest compression, man. The music here is all sounded fantastic as well. Shout out to Yuki Hayashi. And then we cut back over to the villain where the cops show up, man. They get these big ass cuffs on him, man, and they're like, all right, come on, buddy. And like he doesn't move because obviously he's watching the Popstar performance. And Aizawa once again showing off the go-to teacher that he is. He's like, hold on, you guys mind just waiting a moment? I'll make sure to keep an eye on him so he doesn't go crazy. He's like, sure. He's like, as you can tell, they're getting to the good part. So, yeah, Aizawa actually gets to let him watch the performance, man. You love to see it. We get back to the performance, man. Once again, great animation here, man. And like once it's over, you can see the dude like clapping. And then this is when Sugauchi shows up, man, asking Aizawa what's happening here. Aizawa doesn't think he's an instant villain about the, like you mentioned the bee and everything, man. And also, this was hilarious. I don't know if you guys picked this up, but while Aizawa and Sugauchi are talking, you can see the two cops trying to get this dude a budget. He ain't moving. It's so funny. But yeah, now someone actually mentioned this in my comment section in the previous episode. There's also an ambulance that's saying like manga spoilers or anything, or maybe it is, I don't know. We're just theorizing at this point. But someone actually mentioned about what if, because you guys remember I mentioned earlier on in my reviews about Trigger and if it's anywhere connected to the core drugs that Overhaul is making, or we can see Overhaul in Vigilantes at some point, make a cameo. Someone mentioned there might be some more connected tissue to the main series than that. Where they actually mentioned that what if like him being shot up with so much Trigger, turning him into like this hulking beast. What if this is meant to be like an early version of like Nomu's or something, which that's definitely interesting. I don't know if the series is going to go in that direction or not, but I thought that was an interesting theory and I wanted to mention here since we're talking about, they were talking about that. But anyway, man, we end the episode off with number 6, once again returning after his initial appearance in the first episode, which, if you guys did not know, this is something that I'll up here mention where Manga Race Vigilantes mentioned, that 6's appearance in the first episode was not in the manga, that was anime original, which does make me wonder if this was his first like real appearance in Vigilantes was right here, man. If this is like meant to be his first appearance or whatnot, man. But he shows up. We get Teaser's power. It looks like the dude's a speedster because this dude is lightning fast. You see one of Hachisuka's bees is like flying away. He like grabs it, man, to get into like this little container, man. We see lightning coming off him, man. Very reminiscent of the Flash. I don't know, like I said, I don't know. I suspect he's a speedster. I asked some of my friends that have read Vigilante if he is a speedster. They said, yeah, he's fast. So there might be more powers that we don't know about, but he seems like he is indeed somewhat of a speedster, seemingly. Wouldn't be surprised he's inspired by the Flash in that sense, with like the powers in it. But the effects work on the lightning here looked fantastic. And we end the episode off with him just kind of walking away from, tossing the little like container he has in his hand. Also, got a big shout out to Aaron Campbell, he sounds great in this episode, man. He sounded great in the previous episode as well. Love the dude's work, man. As you guys may know, he also voices actually Shigaraki's dad in season 5. He voices that one of the other heroes in throughout the series, man. He's played a handful of characters, man. He also voices Naki type thinking is whoever is the shark guy in Blue Law, as well as Mountain Dew. So shout out to him next. Yeah, he sounded great, man. That's where the episode ends. And then we get the next episode preview where Knuckleduster has gone MIA. Koichi has nothing but it's like, gear left. He's like left on his own to be a vigilante. Like I said in the start of the review, man, does this mean that he's getting rid out of the series completely? Is he just going to be on vacation? Did his daughter live? Did his daughter die? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see next week, ladies and gentlemen, on that. And, yeah, man. Anyway, guys, like I said, this was the best episode of Vigilante. So, of course, my final rating for this review is going to be a 10! out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. As always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me so you feel like it. Links are across below, and it's always come out for more. See you guys next time.